Let me first begin my remarks with some numbers. Earlier this year, Open Doors released their annual World Watch list. This documents the countries which have the worst record for persecution of Christians. They have, when their list is released, the top 50 are analyzed in one specific report. For the year 2025, Ethiopia placed 33rd on that list. One of the main reasons, the two main reasons why they were listed was because of violence and how day-to-day operations of the churches are affected. In contrast, the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom released their annual report on specific countries that they're focused on. There was no mention of Ethiopia to be designated as a country of particular concern, nor were they recommended to be placed on a special watch list. One of the reasons why that is, I found out at another Ethiopian event this past winter, when they were actually showing specific areas of houses of worship being attacked, pastors being attacked. I specifically asked them, have you shared this information with the U.S. State Department and the Commission? They had not. So that's part of our problem right there. Our embassy staff is not relaying that information back here to Washington. And that's also another problem with the advocacy here. You are not telling people like me, like Dr. Stanton, like Messer, like Ms. Collins, those of us who have voices in the city, those of us who can get access to the State Department, to USERV, to congressional offices, and we can actually say, hey, you need to pay attention to this. You're not telling us this. But that is just part of the problem. We know this year currently, EPDF are currently having Washington airstrikes in the North Shore region in Amhara. The districts of North Shore, North Gondar, and even parts of Wallo have been attacked by Ethiopian government forces. Basically, we're having Christians killing Christians. And the sad thing about this, even Christians are even targeted for their activities under the 2023 state of emergency, which gives them the powers to do so. Nobody in Ag is being held accountable for this. That is a problem. They are learning well from people from a certain political party here in the U.S., where if you do things like this, you don't get fired, you get promoted. But the situation is still dangerous. Some of you may be aware of the airstrikes at Kermit yesterday. What should be concerning is who carried out this airstrike. This airstrike was carried out by the Sudanese Armed Forces. This is an area where the Rapid Support Forces have been using that basis to launch UAVs to attack the forces of General Burhan. Sudan has morphed into what can best be described as a proxy. Ethiopia is no longer a bystander. Ethiopia is part of the conflict. They can be construed as supporting the RSF. That raises the concerns about attacks against the Christian communities, and not just in Amhara, but also in Tigray, who are already facing pressure from government It's already spread into Chad, it's spread into South Sudan. Now it's showing signs of spreading into Ethiopia itself. For those who are advocates on not just human rights, but specifically what religion or belief, that will make our job 10 times more difficult. And part of our problem is the focus on the State Department. They're too focused on Nigeria right now. And allow me to ask a quick question. How many of you knew that the Ethiopian foreign minister and the head of their intelligence services were in Washington this week? Didn't see it covered in any of the U.S. media outlets. I knew about it, and it's kind of, and that is, that is part of our problem is the media. Unless they can figure out a way to embarrass Donald Trump, they won't cover a story. Or, as I remember, online from a certain movie with Kelsey Grammer, when he talked about how a story gets pushed and his line in the lineup, if it bleeds, it bleeds. That's the status of the U.S. media regarding Africa writ large. Also, just yesterday, the head of AFRICOM gave testimony about what concerns him in Africa and his budget requests for Africa. One of the things that stood out to me actually was his statement that he do not know exactly everything that the Islamic State and Al-Qaeda want to do in Africa. It is also common knowledge that Al-Shabaab and other groups in Somalia, they want to launch more attacks into Ethiopia. That is also sliding under the radar. And that is also a foreign concern. Because Al-Shabaab has been declared an entity of legal concern by the U.S. Commission of International Religious Freedom. And they have been declared a foreign terrorist organization by the State Department. So, which also makes us wonder what is our actual priority. Because we seem to have a strategy of developing concepts like spaghetti. We throw them against the wall, whatever seems to stick as a policy will follow. So we have to remain Christians with our hands on the scroll, because right now regarding Ethiopia, the sad thing is we do know another crisis is coming, but we cannot nail down where it will start. And actually, the potential of extension of the Sudan proxy war into Ethiopia is one that should terrify everybody. Because the Sudanese military